Welcome to Diary of Happy Black Women. In this episode, we'll dive deep into the importance of building a strong community. With Tiffany, well, let's introduce ourselves. Tiffany, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
This is amazing. Your setup is gorgeous. Like, seriously, like all the vibes. So
Thank you.
yes, very inviting, very whimsical, very chic. I love it. So hey everyone, I'm Tiffany Amin. I am a mama of two, and I model, I brand ambassador, I act. I'm behind the camera now, so I've worked on music videos. I'm currently working on a documentary as an assistant director, and I'm just really ready for this conversation. Like, it's been a long time coming, and so I'm very blessed to be a part of this conversation. I'm so excited to be here with you, Desi, because, girl, I feel like this is totally a reconnection.
We haven't seen you in a
exactly.
I was just about to say.
Yeah, so.
Okay, Desi, now let's introduce you.
Hi everyone. My name is Desi. Or you could call me Desi Ruby May. I model. I don't have any kids. I'm an only child, actually. I'm going to say that. I'm an only child from my mother, but from my father, I'm the youngest of 8. Honestly,
Ooh.
I was born and raised in Las Vegas. I'm just happy to be here. Like, I'm ready to just inspire, express myself, and literally just continue to build from here.
Well, I'm happy to have both of you guys. Like, honestly, you have no idea, like, what you guys mean to me. And that's the importance of, like, why I had you guys on this episode. It's because you two equally inspire me and empower me to just, like, be a better person.
Oh,
So,
really? I didn't
yeah.
That's why I was excited when you reached out to me. I was like, okay, this is perfect time.
Yeah.
I was very specific on who I wanted on my podcast.
Thank
I literally
you.
thought about it, like, everybody in my life. And I'm like, who can fit this role that I want to, like, reach out to other people so they can see what I see in my life and what brought me my own happiness. That's the whole point of this whole podcast. It's just like sharing our experiences of how to be a better woman, how to be happier, how to just, like, be at peace with your life and be okay with just, you know, being secure with yourself, I guess you could say. But let's go into the first question. What does community mean to you, and how has it played a role in your life?
Community means to me basically just people coming together. Whether it's actual family, it doesn't have to be blood. It's building trust within each other, because when you have trust, you could build something. So that's what it means to me. And in my life, I would say I used to feed the homeless. I used to go out with, so my mom, she used to work in the hospitals. And so she knew people who would sit there and do stuff like that, like go feed the homeless. And me, I was always the kid, like I always wanted to do that, like being in the car, seeing homeless people just laid out. Like, I'm like, I wish I could just give them something. Like, when I get older, I'm going to take a homeless person in and really change their life, you know? And so it meant a lot to me when she was able to reach out to one of her coworkers' friends and they put me in a position where we came together, made sandwiches, fed the homeless. Over there, actually, at Salvation Army, over there it's like West Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And so we did that right there. Like, another year, we handed out coats, blankets, literally. So that's what a community means to me, like someone already doing something, you being able to add to it, so it gets bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm. It's important.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. Like, seriously, just, advocating, just if you have something, why not, bless it forward. And, that's great because, like, growing up, like, I've lived in Vegas for almost 4 years now, and I have yet to really find that sense of community, if I want to say it that way. Because growing up, like, being from Chicago, being from Evanston, like, we really were like close knit families. Like, the block was safe. Like, like, we definitely had those rules. Like, get inside. When a street light comes on, you go inside.
So
and if you outside, somebody gonna tell your mama, you still gonna get told on, right?
Everybody gets snitched.
Everyone gets snitched, right?
Every auntie is a snitch.
Girl. Right? And so, like, I came, like, from that sense of community where, if someone knows that you got a kid, instead of, like, donating it or, like, throwing clothes away, they're like, oh, hey, this is for your baby. Like, here's some clothes, here's some shoes, something like that. Growing up, I bounced around all over the place. Like, it was very unstable. And at one point, legit, me, my brother Everett, and my mom were homeless. We actually stayed at the WYMCA, which is like the women's young, like, version of the YMCA. And they had, like, a place where you can actually go and live. And they really integrated a sense of community for us. Like, we had great Christmases. Like, we would be able to go down, like, in this building, go down and go to the pool, or we go, like, they would, like, plan activities for us, like, the kids, it wasn't, and they would teach, like, the moms how to go and, like, get jobs and, like, stuff like that. So that's what I was used to growing up. So being here and being in another similar situation, right, resources aren't readily available. Like, I don't feel that sense of community here in Vegas, unless, in passing someone says, oh, did you know that you can go and apply for, like, energy assistance or something like that? It's not really well known. There's not very many resources for women in general here in Vegas. And I feel like, having this conversation now, hopefully we can start that process of getting more resources, available. That's my big goal. Like, my big goal is to be able to give back, be able to have housing for people that come to get on their feet. I know there's programs out there, but some programs don't keep families together. Like, it's like, if you have kids, oh, we can't help you. And that's weird. Like, I don't understand that. Aren't we supposed to be preserving life? And if you have children, you're preserving life. That's, they're going forward. If you can't provide basic, necessities for your child, how is that preserving life? Yeah. So, like, sense of community for me is, like, it doesn't have to be, like, same blood relatives, but someone's looking out for you, like your neighbor or, someone, down the street or something like that. That's community to me. It's like someone saying, okay, I have something that helps someone else. Allow me to do that. Yeah. Instead of just what we're seeing now is people seeing, but they're not doing anything about it. They're not saying anything about it, and so, that's community is just, when you band together, it doesn't have to be, for any reason. It's just because you're a good person and you want to help someone else.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess the part that you said, just to be a good person, is the main point about having a community. It's just being safe and vulnerable, and understand that everybody goes through something. And that you guys relate on the same situations, and to know that there is a better way out of it.
Absolutely.
Because not everybody has the answers. Even in every single community, we're still figuring things out as humans. And I don't think people realize that enough, because everybody thinks that everybody has the answers. And that's not what human life is about. We're always evolving as a race, as a species. And until we're able to understand that everybody's life does matter, like you said, and to build strong communities, to build and grow and support each other, no one's going to understand what human life is about, like you were saying. Like, I agree. Community to me is just like understanding that we are all meeting at the same basis level and that we're all trying to succeed together. Because what makes you different than me? Nothing, other than that we all want to win.
Absolutely. And we all can win. Like, we all should be winning.
We all should be winning. And that's what the community I want to build is about, is empowering each other and upbuilding each other to know that there is a better way out of what we may have came from. Even if you do come from a very good background as well. You don't know what the best is. No one even knows what the best is in life. That's why billionaires are going to go see the fucking Titanic.
Right.
Because they had nothing else better to do.
Exactly.
Like be so for real. Like, you know what I mean?
Definitely was talking because that creates understanding, right? Because, you know, Desi, you can attest, like, you travel as a model, right? And when you're traveling, you can't, like, you show up as Desi, but, like, you're still, like, kind of taking in your surroundings because, like, certain things are, right? So, like, how does that play in to, like, when you're traveling, you know, to these different states and, you know, overseas, hopefully, you know, or something like that, for you?
Honestly, okay, repeat your question again.
So, like, we were just talking about, like, the importance of, like, exploring and traveling and, you know, being immersed in different cultures so we can understand where each other are coming from, to have that sense of community, you know, to know that, oh yeah, you might be from, you know, say Georgia or, like, you know, New York or something like that. We all know there's different, like, it's just a whole nother, like, vibe.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say that's my favorite part.
About black people?
Like, I would say, are you speaking like people in general or just black people?
I only care about black people.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
yeah.
because, like, that's what we're experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
like, say, like,
different from here, like, the black community opposed to, like, you know.
Oh, yeah. So, when I went to, okay, so I recently went to Miami the first time in March this year. And so, I would say, okay, in Miami, I was actually in Miami Gardens. Like, I wasn't in, like, South Beach, like, what you see on Instagram and, like, social media and stuff like that. Like, the Airbnb lady, like, she actually made it feel like family there. Like, to where, like, we honestly just rented one of her rooms out. But say, like, she provided breakfast if you wanted it. Or say, like, she used to do hair inside of her house and stuff. And so she was always just checking up on us. Like, we would leave and we would come back to, I put, like, say she'll be like, I put more tissue in the bathroom. There's new towels in the restroom.
Nice.
And so, that's my favorite part about her. Like, she really made it feel like home. And so, even, like, the black people out there, like, it was very different. Like, I remember we was at McDonald's. Me and my friend, we were actually at McDonald's. And so, say, it was this dude, he was in McDonald's, like, in the actual McDonald's, like, anybody, like, homemade cakes, this, that. And so I'm like, am I tripping? I said, because Vegas would never, you're getting kicked off. Like, you're getting kicked off instantly.
They get so mad when you want to make some money for yourself.
But no, the workers there was literally letting him. And so something told me, I'm like, no, I'm okay. But something told me, I said, I was like, Desi, it don't hurt to sit there and actually try something. Especially to bless the next person, you know? And so it was actually good. I had a Red Velvet Oreo, I believe. Like, it was
Oreo.
Right, okay.
It was good. And so that's how it was out there. Or say, for instance, like, I remember we went to a gas station. Inside the gas station, they had a phone repair place right inside of it. And so people were just going up to the stand, like, literally, like, just getting their phone fixed. And so that right there, I'm like, okay. I said, that's different. Like, I wouldn't see that in the gas station in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But everybody out there, like, they really come together. Like, they're very supportive. Like, I remember driving by, they got cookouts, jumpers, like, with the kids. I'm like,
this over and
yes. Like, I'm like, dang, I can't remember the last time I seen a grill, like, in a like at a park with like family, like as big as that, like they was really having a good time. So like even right there, like it's very different. Like, but that's what I see as a community, like just coming together. So like they teach me, like they being in Miami for the first time literally showed me like our community can actually come together.
Yeah.
Because where I come from, like say like
Where are you born?
I was born and raised here.
Oh,
so say
okay,
like I only have 6 cousins. My grandmother was the only child.
Wow.
Yeah. So my aunties and them, they don't have no uncles, no aunties. Like
I can understand that.
yeah.
I can understand
So
that.
it's like when we fall off, it's like there's nobody else. It's dead. It's dead. So say my community came from meeting new people. Like honestly, like being in the model industry, like that's like my closest family. Like I have family here, you know, we do try to come together. But it's like it's all about really coming together, creating something powerful because you know we already have a stereotype when people see us in public. Like you see we be getting followed in stores, like, you know, out of nowhere, you know. So it's like that's why I support like black owned businesses. I love to support my people. I really do because it means a lot to me that they out here just pushing through, getting to it no matter regardless what anybody says. Like regardless.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that you shared that because literally the next question is could you share a story or experience that highlights the power of community and how it affects individuals. So like thank you so much for sharing that. Like Tiffany, like literally that like pieced right in together. Do you have a story as well?
Yeah, so modeling as well, and just being immersed in the creative community here in Vegas, through my boyfriend Jaden, and like being on sets, you know, and seeing like black faces behind like movie cameras, and like, you know, seeing like black artists, and like, you know, they're just out there sharing their gift, and like, you know, and just seeing the amount of people that come out, like that is now like my new sense of community, like just being immersed in this creative world, and as a black woman being able to be behind the camera, like you're just now seeing like black women like Regina King and like, you know, Issa Rae, and, you know, behind the camera, really, like you've never really seen that until now. And I think that's pivotal, and I feel like this is our time to start branching out and creating our own community, you know. And so like I'm finding my community within the arts, because I legit have found like true friends, like, you know, people that are like, I understand, you know, what you're going through, like you're not crazy thinking this, or, you know, hey, you need a ride, I'll come get you, you know, like it's things like that, like, you know, that keep me going, you know, to be like, okay, this is my path, like people are wanting me to be a part of this, you know, they're willing to come out, you know, come pick me up, or, you know, anything like that. So like just like you know, just having more examples of people that look like me, of women that look like me. Representation matters.
And it's no longer Tyler Perry
Studios.
It's Tiffany Almond Studios.
Hey, right? Like literally, like, you know, creating your own movie and doing it authentically as you, you know, and always just being able to show up as you. I have moments where I'm just like, you know, like the other day I was saying earlier, like I have moments where I just have to break down and like, you know, really assess where I am, like really in reality. Like I have a lot of crap going on, yes, acknowledge it, you know, but then what's keeping me here? Like what do I have to look forward to? Yeah, you know, things are not cool, but I have some really cool people around me, like looking forward to coming to the podcast. It's like something like I already signed up for that. You know, I'm not going to let myself down. I'm not going to let you down. I'm not going to let Des down, you know, I need to show up for myself. You know, I can't give up now, you know, because that's what people want. Like, they want you to give up. And I'm like, I need to show them different. Mm-hmm. And by showing them different is showing up and being kind and being compassionate and being transparent, you know, still being me, even though I have all this other stuff going on, and not pushing it off on anybody else. You know, that's what a lot of the media shows as black women.
Brainwashing.
It is brainwashing.
You should read the Conspiracy to Kill or to Destroy Black Women.
I definitely will.
Yeah, I was just talking to you about this earlier, like my therapist, but like now turned like mentor. Like I don't really talk to her like as much anymore. Like what she's like been teaching me and stuff, because like I agree with both of you guys, like which is crazy because I've always been like a really creative person growing up, and then I lost that because like I just lost, you know, the love, the spark in myself, because I was just like I grew up in a very white environment, like in every like I'm not even lying, like in almost every single room I'm usually the only like black person, well a black woman. So it's like now like being in those spaces have just like really changed my perspective in life, because like I always had to just like defend myself, because so many people would want to try me or like be intimidated just by meeting me. Like so many comments of like, oh, I thought you were gonna be mean, or I thought you were gonna be this and that, like preconceived like notions in their head before even meeting me. So it's like I'm always like on the defensive side of things. And now that like I did enter a space with melanated models and like met all of you guys, it allowed me, like, I don't know if you guys knew this, like when I first started going, it was very quiet, and like I just like didn't know how to like react in those situations, because I talk about this in my other episode, like spirituality episode, but like when I like met you guys, like I didn't realize how much I wasn't doing for myself. Like I didn't realize like I wasn't doing enough, like until I met you guys. And then how much you inspired me and like empowered me to just like, I need to do more, like sparked an energy in me. And it allowed me, like with positivity, like you said, having those moments where you can feel vulnerable or like let down, because you don't have to be like so on show for people.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's like you are in environments where you just have to like be the example of a good person. And really, like, I'm a good person regardless, however you think of me. Because who even told you to even think of me that way, you know? Right. And it's like now that we were taught that, like, especially growing up in both my religion and my family, like I literally had to be just like such an example, because in my religion, my grandfather and like my grandparents were really big. Like they called them like elders, and like people would look up to them, and it's like, okay, now that they're not even alive anymore, like I feel like I'm literally living for myself, and I have that power from them to just like approach situations with like full confidence and know that like whatever happens, I'm in this situation knowing that I'm handling it the best way that I know how to. Right. And I'm killing it. Right. Because I'm doing a job that no one has ever done before in their lives. Like imagine like and it's crazy because it's like growing up this way, I never really thought about it, because it's like I thought that was normal because we are the minority. Yeah. I didn't know that there were so many black people until I started visiting black spaces and feeling comfortable like in those spaces, because it's just like my entire life I'm like by myself, like the only one, me and my brother, especially like we are literally like the darkest in our family as well. So like I even got hate from going to, I literally don't have a day, even as an adult, I don't have a day where I don't feel judged or bullied. I literally walk outside and everyone is just like so attracted to me that like I can't even like live my own life. Like, talk about celebrity. No, I don't need to be a celebrity because everybody loves me, like, just naturally, like, and I know you get the same thing because, like, I never met a woman that, like, challenged me enough until I met you. No, I'm being so dead ass. That's why we call each other twins, because it's like, not only, like, are we, like, same star sign, like, we're both Tauruses, but just, like, even, like, how you act as a person, I just so much relate to you. It's just insane. I'm like, it's weird how, like, I've never met you, and then, like, boom, like, I just already have that, like, connection with you of, like, being up here. Because, like, every single other woman, especially, like, before I even met Melanated, all these women that I was surrounded by, I never felt like they were at my level. And not saying it in a comparison type of way, just saying it in, like, you don't inspire me to be better. Like, there's nothing about you that I aspire to be. And I needed to take the accountability for myself and change that, because I started feeling very negative about myself and, like, bringing myself down because I needed to relate to people. And it's like, no, I'm the fucking shit. If you think I'm not, that's your problem. And I only feel like Black women get this because if you do read that book, like, it does bring out, like, how, like, unprovoked people are upset about even our presence. So many people are just even intimidated by us being there because throughout all the trauma, all the brainwashing, all the what the world does to us, we are still doing better than everybody else. So, like, it's like no one can even understand it, and that's why they're mad. That's why they need to. I never want to be around people that want to humble me. Like, what does that even mean? Like, you feel so highly about myself that you feel like you need to take me down to your level. Are we okay? You should aspire to me to be equally just like me. Like, how are you even looking at it in a negative way? Because you're intimidated, and therefore I don't like you in my space. Like, leave me alone. Because I grew up very quiet, and I've always been, like I said, on the defensive side. I don't know how to have conversations with people because I'm used to people just coming to me. Like, I don't have to strive for more attention, to do more, because naturally what's in me is all that I need to be successful, to be loved, to be beautiful. Like, it's just, I wish more Black women knew that about themselves, but it's so much negativity thrown at us that it's impossible. It's so hard for people to just, like, and I have so much empathy for women like that, because it's like, man, it took me, well, I always knew that I was the shit, but I wish other people knew that from the beginning, because I don't want people to experience what I grew up in, because it was so much badness. I could write a story about it. But I wish people knew that, like, whatever happens in your life, negative or positive, all that matters is what you think about yourself. And that's what community is about.
Yeah. Or, like, I tell people all the time, I be telling them everything's temporary. Like, it always gets better. And I feel like, I don't know, to community, I'm the type of person, I learned it's not what you know, it's who you know. Like, say for instance, okay, so say the way I grew up, I recently just told my mom this too. I told her, I was like, even if you guys think that kids don't pay attention, kids pay attention. They do. Like, or actually I was telling my dad, because I was telling him, don't ever feel like you didn't do the right job raising us because you taught us how to survive. Like, say, like, growing up, like, I didn't, like, my mom, she was a single parent. Same. Like, okay, so they co-parented, but it was even, like, trouble with that. So, say I always seen different sides being at my mom's house and my dad's house.
They were still learning.
Like, yeah, exactly. Yes. So, my mom, like, I remember being at my dad's house, and like I remember like seeing my brothers like at a young age, they telling me like we have to boil hot water to take showers. This is that. So it's like I remember nights we just coming together like with the generator, or like it'll run out of gas. We go to the gas station, whether we had to walk or this is that. And like my brothers, like they're very like, they basically protectors. So say like, although I was the only child, I knew I was protected like in that home. Like I knew. And so being in a community, I remember like, also like nowadays, like where I live, you could sit there, if you're on EBT, like food stamps, you could get free phones, you could get free tablets. And like I remember driving by, so I wonder if that's real. So I tried it one day, and like they really gave me like a tablet that has Wi-Fi, phone that has Wi-Fi, like literally. So a community, that's a community to me. Like, cause say people be trying to talk bad on like people who on EBT or like, you know, Section 8, this is that. Like I already know we get looked at as ghetto, ratchet, like people who's on Section 8, like, you know. So it's like we should, when we're able to come together, it's literally like these like how do I say it? Okay, being in the wilderness, but you have tools. Like you have tools.
You know what's so crazy that you say that is like, you know how like, first of all, a lot of people don't realize this, and it's crazy because it's like, there's not a lot of money out there.
No,
there's not a lot of money. There's a lot of people holding money.
Exactly.
And for you to look down on somebody because they're poor means you're really weird.
Right. Yeah.
Because like, let me be 100% honest. There's way more poor people, and I consider people barely making it by equally as poor.
Exactly.
Because like, there's no way if like you lost your job, you're going to be able to sustain yourself for 6 months.
Right.
Like, especially most Americans, which is sad. Because it's like more people need to be taught to do better, but they're not, because they don't want to get on these type of systems. I'm sorry. The great thing about this country is that they have so many different type of resources for you to do better, but the way that this country is ran and how they brainwash people is because they want you to think that you need to humble yourself or whatever to not get certain things. These bitches are handing out free money. Go get your money.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And also, shut your fucking mouth if you feel embarrassed about it.
Right.
Literally.
Like, shut up.
I'm the type of person, I'm a very private person. You know how many people told me, like, I didn't know this and stuff. Like, I know.
Right.
I didn't tell you.
I
didn't tell you.
Exactly.
Like, you know, that's really me. I'm a very private person. Like, I don't tell nobody. People ask me, where do you work? I'd be like,
nowhere.
Why? Or I'd be like,
I actually don't have a job.
Like, you know, it'd be stuff like that. Like, but yeah, I'm a very private person.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I agree. No, I really agree, because it's twofold, though. It's twofold. So there's resources out there. However, 9 times out of 10, they're not teaching you how to not be on those resources anymore, right? So for like me, Des, you, whatever, like I'm going to go get my SNAP benefits because I need to feed myself and my babies, right? As I'm building my brand, as I'm going out there making these connections, like as I know that, okay, but I'm not going to be like, no, I don't want that. No, my kids got to eat, and that food is getting way more expensive. So until I can go ahead and not have to worry about it, I'm going to go ahead and collect those resources. That doesn't mean that I'm ghetto. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to go out and go, you know, make a living for myself. So like, if you have that instant judgment about me because I'm pulling out that EBT card,
it's
that's
their
on
internalized
you.
racism.
That's not on me. Exactly. And I was going to say, like, you know, I grew up like opposite. You know, I had a lot of Black people in my community. Like, I went to one of like the biggest schools in Chicago, like for high school. We had very much integrated schools. Like, we had almost every race at our school. So I didn't come from a very like secluded like background. However, where it came from was from within my own like family, within my own Black community towards me. And it's like, because you know, Tiff, you think you're better than us because you speak proper English or some, like some weird stuff like that. It's like, no, like, I just like going to school and English is my favorite subject, you know. That's the difference, you know.
Also, it's just because we talk different doesn't mean that you're less than me.
Right.
I
played tennis.
Do you guys watch
I
that?
went for like, you know, theater and stuff like that. Doesn't, like, just apply yourself. Like, why are you coming at me? Like, I look like you, right? Yeah. So why are we coming against each other?
You know that mink little woman on TikTok?
I do not.
She has like this really southern accent. I don't know, but I'm gonna promote her because like I love her. Mink little hair care products. Like I love her TikTok. Like, and she talks with like such a just like a really like southern like they would consider it ratchet or ghetto, and I'm like, no, like that's just her personality. That's her creativity. Just because like y'all don't talk about how Americans will butcher the French accent or my favorite thing to do, and I don't know why I'm like this, but I love talking in the British accent, especially when
you were about to say that. I was like, she better not say that.
That's me.
Cause that's hilarious.
When I want to be not me, when I want to be like international, I'm British. I'm from London, babes.
Right.
Like,
right.
I love it because it's just like, why can't I be whoever I want to be?
Exactly.
That's the great thing about being an American.
I
can identify with everybody. Actually, y'all want to take our culture so much. Let me take yours.
Right.
I like taking your accent for a day.
Right.
So nobody knows who I am because that's who I am.
Seriously. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's just so interesting how the perspective of it, you know, and I feel like as, you know, Black women, we get it from all sides. It's like crazy.
Man, so that's why like intersectionality feminism is like really important, and like I don't think a lot of people have a lot of knowledge on it. But yeah, so it's the only like way that like to explain like why Black women suffer the most like in all systems is because we're both equally targeted and oppressed by like gender-wise and race-wise. So like I don't care what like, you know, what anyone else is saying like about like trans people, like they are included as well, and that's why that's why it's important that we do talk about it, because like you just hear about like that woman who died, this man like killed her because he thought she was trying to be a woman, but she was an actual woman.
So what is it his problem? What does it matter?
That's why it's so important, because so many people are taught to hate us because of what they're brainwashed in all actuality, and they don't understand that Black women are not a monolith, that Black women are all not the same, and we're not aggressive.
Right.
Because like I said, I didn't realize that, and that's what's going into the next question. So the next question is, how do you think community involvement can contribute to personal growth and development? That's what I learned, is that like instead of being around women who bring out like a really like mean side of me, because I am trying to like relate to them, like, and most of those conversations that I was having with these women, they would be like talking about each other, talking about each other's men, like I also don't relate to those women because of like they were not Black, obviously.
Right. So
it's like they didn't understand me as a person as well, as in like skin. Like we have such beautiful skin.
And
I wash my face with Dove soap. I don't have any tips to give you.
Right.
I also don't involve myself with shitty men because I grew up in a situation with a single mom, and I don't want to repeat that.
Exactly.
So like I'm not gonna gamble with my time in relationships and choose men that don't value me as a woman. Like I don't relate to you in those ways, or like, you know what I mean? Like so it's just like really hard to just like actually be myself, and it's like maybe I was like masking, like they say, for a minute to just like feel like I am included in the situation when like I actually don't have the same problems that you do. My problems are that the world absolutely hates me for no reason. Right. And y'all hate me for no reason because y'all would give me backhanded comments or say I'm arrogant or so-and-so because I love myself. I'm going to tell myself I love myself every day. I'm going to wake up and look in the mirror and tell myself I'm beautiful every day because I am.
Absolutely.
Like, don't forget. actually I didn't forget. I'm just reminding myself
yourself
that once I step out into this world, everybody's going to be looking at me like I'm the one that's different. And we're all humans. Like, I don't really understand why all these people, like, I flew, like, first class, like one time, and I will never forget this experience because I was so, like, weirded out. But, like, this, like, girl, she was, like, a European family, and she was, like, maybe, like, 8 years old or something like that. This little girl stared at me the entire time I was on this flight, and I was just like, why are you, like, so obsessed with me? Like, what is going on? Like, and people will make you feel like you are so different. And to this day, and I talked to my mentor about this, and she told me, like, this is why I have so much, like, grace with other people now. Like, with that whole Carly Russell situation, like, a lot of people were, like, really telling on themselves that y'all don't like black women, but that's okay. Like, we already knew that. We just wish that y'all would just leave us alone.
Right.
But then that's another, like, conversation. But just, like, how it's never going to be our fault at the end of the day why someone doesn't like you. It's not your job to, like, figure out why you don't belong. It's your job to take accountability and find the sources and communities that do uplift you and empower you for you not to feel like you don't belong.
Right.
And that's why it's important to have the outlets, to have people that you can go to, because it's hard out here to just like do everything on your own, and then like now you're stuck in a situation where like your mental health is now involved and like affected, and you feel lonely and you don't have anybody to go to. And that's why we need to do better, because everybody goes through these situations.
Absolutely.
But everybody wants us to feel so completely different, so disconnected from them that, okay, then we need to start gatekeeping more. How about that? Like, maybe we do need to start actually building up ourselves as a community instead of looking out to these other sources, asking them for help.
Absolutely.
Okay, we can look to see like what you're doing to have inspiration just like everybody else, but now it's time for us to turn this, remix it a little bit into our own stuff, and become more of a united foundation.
For black women. Absolutely. Like solely.
We're like literally like automatically answering questions that like we're even like going through, because the next one I literally just answered was, how can we find and create supportive, inclusive communities that uplift and empower each other? But which one can we go to next? Did you guys have anything else you wanted to say?
Honestly, I want to piggyback off what you just said, when you were saying that when someone feels like they're alone and they don't have anyone to run to, that's when mental health starts taking apart. It's crazy you said that, because now I'm just now learning to actually find the resources that you said, to go out there and look for places where I do belong. Because say for instance, like me being the only child, like that's why I don't have too many community experiences. Because as a child, especially just being with a single mom, it was just me and her. Like, it was just me and her in our household. But then at my dad's house, it was me and him for a time, and then my brothers came. But being with my mom, like, say, for instance, like, she didn't give me my first phone until I was in high school. Like, say, as a child, like, I was self-entertained. Like, I'm very self-entertained.
Yeah.
I could be anywhere. I could travel alone. I could literally go. Like, because as a child, I love nature. So I always was going outside. Like, I remember my mom telling me not to go outside while she wasn't home, and I would still go outside. Just to go outside, though. And so my community was literally myself, like, or like YouTube. Like, say, I remember I learned a lot from YouTube. Origami, like,
Same.
I'm a creative.
Patricia Bright.
Like,
I love her.
like, I remember a kid, like, I remember making my mom stuff for holidays. I didn't have no money. So I learned how to make pop-up cards on YouTube, like, just everything.
That's cute.
Like, yeah, everything. So as a kid, like, the only thing I had was my creative mind. Like, that's the only thing I had, like, or just Like, because I wasn't really a TV person either, because say like she would put a timer on it, so it's like I was a TV kid, but I used to be the type to ask her to buy me paper, scissors, like arts and crafts.
Same.
And so
I didn't play video games.
real.
That wasn't me.
Yeah, I never played video games, like never watched sports, like ever. And so my community didn't come until she put me in model classes at 16. Like, you know, it was getting there. I was like, okay, like, you know, new to this. Because we actually went to a Girl Scouts meeting. And so she said I looked a little unsure, so she never put me in it. I'm glad she never put me in it, because I really wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But, like, modeling, that was me. I always wanted to model since I was 8. And so, ever since then, like, my community with modeling, like, I started taking it serious at 19 when I graduated. So that's where my community comes from. Like, I've been with melanated models for 3 years. Like, literally, that's the community right there. Because as a child, like, say I still see here, it's crazy. Okay, now I can tell y'all this. Okay, I can tell y'all this. Okay, so the real reason I canceled last weekend is because my mental health wasn't up there. But you know how many...
you would have just told me.
You know how many times I sat there was finna say and I was like, nah, I kept backspacing. That's just me, though. I'm the type of person, like...
Taurus, stubborn
I've done that too, though.
But you don't know how many times I literally...
Like, type it out and I'm like, nah,
backspace, and I typed something else. I was like, no need for me to lie. And I backspaced, I said, and I typed it again. I said, no, I can't. I was like, I'm going to just show up next weekend. But it's literally like, it was mental space right there.
It was
like,
still received all love. Like, we were not going to do this without you.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's not not that. It's about how
you were.
How I am.
Exactly.
Like, if a
but
person
I'm just glad that you had the experience by saying, like, we still, like, received it just fine. So now you know. Yeah. Going forward, you know.
I mean, but it's still, like, it's not, okay, so... Say, for instance, I don't think about what a person is going to say. I think about, like, how I feel inside. I'm not somebody who could just open up.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I can, but it's
that.
like, I'm not the type of person who, like, it takes me a minute. Like, it literally takes me a minute. Because as a child, I'm the type of person, like, I always have to figure it out on my own regardless. Like, say, for instance, I have problems at home and school. Yeah. So as a kid, there's no safe space.
This is why we understand.
There's literally no.
You know what's so funny that you say that's literally the next question. It says providing a safe space for vulnerability is crucial.
Absolutely.
What are some ways to cultivate an environment where Black women feel comfortable sharing their experiences, challenges, and triumphs without fear?
Yeah.
Can I answer
yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, it's crazy you asked this question because, say, for instance, me, I'm the type of person, like, not even me. Say, I've been noticing a lot of Black women are coming together and making, like, events or, like, vision board parties or, like, women empowerment groups. And then, so I literally just said to myself 2 weeks ago, I want to do something like that. Like, I want to do, like, a girls' night. Like, say, for instance, I was thinking about asking Dre Day to rent the studio. And, like, we just come together, like, say, like, we have anybody who's a vendor, like, business, or, like, say, I was thinking, like, they don't even have to do anything. Just bring yourself. Because I would get everything. Like, say, the food, like, arts and crafts, like the poster boards, or, like, just sharing experiences, like mental health group talks and stuff like that. Because I feel like that's what creates the trust, or like the empowerment environment, because you have to find like-minded people like you. But the only way you can find that is if you ask questions and get to know people, because the people gonna come to you. It's just you have to put yourself in a position where you could be seen. So that's how I really feel like it's the groups, because say, for instance, you know, the black community, like, say, for instance, we get looked at as, like, say, for instance, like, black-on-black violence. It's a lot of black-on-black violence right now. So, say, like, people look at us like, oh, they can't come together, this is that, you know? But now I really feel like we're actually, like, everyone's actually working on themselves or trying to work on themselves and actually taking the steps to really come together. Because I see people all the time, like, word of mouth, like, I hear word of mouth, like, I see word of mouth, like, say, for me, for instance, like, for me to go to Miami Swim Week and do what I had to do is because designers I just met in Las Vegas last month. Like, it's literally like that. So I feel like the safe space, like, the same designers I didn't cry with, like, girls I didn't cry with girls at fashion shows. Because we opened up to each other. But it wasn't forced. It was just like how me, you two are, like, it was just a click, like, oh, it's crazy you said that. You made me feel comfortable now. Like, you know, it was stuff like that. So I really feel like the safe space comes from, like, honestly, sometimes you got to use your discernment, too. Like, you really got the patience to see who really listen.
Wait.
That's valid.
Right. And also,
that's valid.
All black folk ain't our folk.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, at the end of the day, because, like,
we all fam.
No,
exactly.
I don't care what percentage black you got.
Right.
You not with me.
Exactly.
That's why I was like, you really got to use your discernment.
You do have to use your discernment, because there'd be some real shady.
Yeah, that's why I'm the type of person, like, it's like I pay attention to a lot. Like, I could pay attention to your body language. Like, someone wants to talk to me on the phone about something serious, I'm like, no, we got to talk face to face. I have to see your body language. You could tell me anything on the phone.
Yeah.
Correct.
You could text me anything. That's just me. I didn't always grow up like that, though, because in the household I was in, I didn't grow up in a household where my parents would communicate with me. So, say, like, that has really affected my relationships now. Like, say, for instance, like, I don't know how to sit there and communicate. Like how I was just telling you guys, I don't know how to just sit there and open up because I wasn't taught that. In the household I was in, it was texting. Like, basically, like, it was stuff like that. Like, my dad's house, like, I would say, my dad, he didn't whip me. Like, you know, so I was the type of, I knew how to get away with stuff as a kid. Like, say, for instance, you know how kids be.
And especially
my mama
dads,
told me no, so let me go run to my dad.
It's really easy to, like,
men
are easy.
Yeah, so it's like.
It's your mom you gotta deal with.
Yeah, so.
They be thinking too much. Moms think way too much.
That's my mom.
Yeah.
Like,
No, every mom. Like, I'm being so serious. Like, a mom will know when something's up before you even know something's up. And it's like, how much energy are you putting in life for you to do all of that? Tiffany, tell us. Why are you putting so much? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, for me, motherhood is different. Like, even though, like, both of my biological parents were in my life, they weren't in my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I didn't really have the mom that was, like, on me to, like, go to school and all that stuff. She was more concerned about what she was doing. My dad was more concerned about what he was doing, so it wasn't like I was raised by, my grandma, then my mom, my stepmom, who I consider my mom, things like that. So I really, my stepmom was who I really kind of, grew up with having a sense of a mom, but she was very much so be yourself. Like, I was able to go to her, like, when I wanted to get my tongue pierced, she would go with me. Like, things like that. She would always be like, Tiff, I don't know how you've gotten this far with, like, the parents that you had, have growing up. Like, she was like, any other kid would be like, but I was my own parent. Like, I would, like, figure out a way to get to school. If I had to scrounge up 100 fucking pennies to, like, get on the bus. I lived and Evanston was pretty big, right? So, like, at one point in middle school, I lived in South Evanston, which is, like, right on the border of Chicago and Evanston. But where I went to school was North Evanston. So, like, you had to take a bus, you had to get, driven there or something like that. But I would walk if I had to. I found, like, an old bike, and I, like, rode that bike if I had to. Like, I had to, something in me was like, no, you need to do this. Like, because I didn't want to be like the kids around, like how,
Same.
the kids
I always knew I knew I was better than most people.
Yeah, like, there was something, like, regardless, like, if I chose to stay inside and, like, listen to music or do something, like, creative or be to myself, the other girls will think that I was, pregnant or something like that. Like, I remember these one times, like, three girls that had nothing better to do in their life was like, hey, come outside. And I was like, I don't feel like it. My mom's not home. I can't come outside, you know, pretty much like that.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, what are you, pregnant or something? I was like, what are you talking about? And the girl was like, well, if you're not pregnant, let me punch you in the stomach. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, why would I allow you to punch me in the stomach to prove that I'm not like you, right? Like, you know, so like my sense of growing up with like parents was like a lot different. Me as a parent, I'm working through all that stuff with my kids, right? Like I had to learn how to be my own version of the parent that I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. So with my son, I literally was growing up with him as well. You know, I had my son late in life, you know, but I didn't want to have a kid until
I knew I wanted to have a kid.
I'm still trying to take care of myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I had to learn, and like, you know, my mom had her own kids to take care of, you know what I mean? So like she did what she could from afar. So it was me pretty much trying to learn how to be a parent. You know, I didn't have things to pull from. So I say that my relationship with my kids now is amazing. My kids tell me every day that I'm like the best mom ever. And I literally pull on that every day to keep going. But it took work for me to get there. It took work for me to do different from what I saw growing up. You know,
I think it's very important that you say that because, wow, that's insane that you say that, because I was literally just talking, like the last conversation I had like with this mentor that I had was the importance of just like understanding that it's never our problem reacting to a system that's meant for us to fail in. So like, it's important that we understand that we should have more understanding and grace with ourselves, because we are literally just learning from baby steps. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard because it's like you see other people doing not better, but just handling situations better than you. And Correct. It's like, well, why can't I understand it in that way? It's because they already had their lives already written out for them. Mm-hmm. Like you said, growing up with a single mom, my mom, she did want to talk to us. I grew up with but I never wanted to talk to anybody because I was just me growing up. I was very for sure of myself from a very young age. Like my mom, she gave me a phone in elementary school because I would have to walk to school. Like I was very independent from a very young age. Like I knew who I was, and I didn't care about anyone else's opinion, and it really comes off as being like arrogant or like whatever people want to say about me. But it's like at the end of the day, I'm gonna still be me. Like whatever you think about me, it's whatever you want to think, because I come from an experience of seeing it from being hated and oppressed for no reason. For no absolute reason. Like being born into a system and like thrown into like such an environment of like hatred, like really warps your brain of the world, because no one asked to be here. No one knows why we're here. Yet there's this system that's created for us to stay in a place. And then when you grow up and you have a sense of individuality, your own creativity, you know that you are better than the system that was created that's brainwashing people to keep the system going. Like, it's kind of like you're living in an alternate reality, because none of this makes sense. Like, it's, yes.
Can I ask you a quick question? So how did you transition from always being disliked and hated on to, because you said you knew who you was at a very young age. I would say I'm the very opposite.
Right. I would say that too.
Like, I'm the very opposite. So since I have always been disliked or like hated on, I never told anybody about it when I was younger. So now that I'm older and I jumped into the model industry, And I would have girls like that. You know, it's different from when you're a kid and when you're older. Like, I remember being in middle school, like, being new to in middle school, the girls in PE hid my clothes, like, my actual clothes, because the school I went to, I was only in that middle school for 3 months. I came at the very end of the year. So, you know, I didn't even have time to get assigned a locker like the school year was over. You know, they assigned that out in the beginning of the year. And so, say I remember the girls, like, I hear laughing and stuff, and, like, they hid, like, my actual clothes. And me, I'm the type of person, I'm a very type of person, like, I don't show my anger. I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, I said, these clothes gonna show up. I said, they gonna show up. Like, and what they did, I hear laughing, though, you know? I hear little conversations. I'm just looking, I'm like, okay, they gonna show up, you know? And they showed up, but, like, stuff like that, like, being in the model industry and see, like, it's been times where girls wanted to find me at a fashion show over he say, she say stuff. And, like, me, I'm the type of person, like, I don't do he say, she say stuff.
I'm gonna hit you.
And then it's like, I'm not even gonna come out of character at a fashion show, though, because that's messing up
future stuff.
Like, you know, I've always been that type of person. I've never, like, risked nothing of mine on the line. Like, I always let people do that on their own, because I know they just want you to react so both of y'all could, like, be out of it, or, like, you just looked at someone. But now that I'm older, like, I'm still, like, trying to adjust, because, like I said, it was no safe space at home or, like, or at school. So how did, like, you transition from, like, I don't know, because say, like, I can admit I still struggle with that, because I'm the type of person, like, I could come off, like, how you say aggressive, like, people say I come off as aggressive, but I notice with myself, like, when I'm nervous, or, like, I could honestly just say what's on my mind, like, but it don't be aggressive on purpose. Like, I'm the type of person, I'm like, I apologize, this is sad, but it don't be, like, it be, like, playful aggressive, like, yeah.
I guess because of, like, you know how the system is ran, right? So unfortunately, I really relate to, like, I relate to a lot of white men, and only because it's like that's just, like, who was my safe space to go to. Like, my first kiss was, like, a redheaded little white boy, because white men are the only demographic that, like, actually, like, built me up into who I am, because I've always been beautiful. Like,
right.
I just have been, like, and everyone told me, even, like, growing up in my own family, like, don't tell her, it's gonna go to her head, or, like, you know, she gets told that all the time.
How they just dim you
down,
like,
because, like, they don't get that attention. And then it's like, I understand that, because I grew up with that since I understand what words are. So I, like, understand, like, even with, like, my friends that I had, like, when they would give me backhanded comments and stuff, I would just, like, you know, like, brush it off, like, you know, maybe they're just struggling with their own insecurities.
Right.
Like, it has nothing to do with me. Like, I'm glad that you're comparing yourself to me, because, like, why wouldn't you? Like, why wouldn't you be admired by me?
And
of course you are.
And I feel like that's how we should be taught. Like, you see how you just switched that from, oh, that's your insecurity.
Yeah.
But
like,
me growing up, like,
I'm not even thinking about you, actually.
Yeah, and so
I don't think about anybody but myself.
I come from the same, like, thing, because, like, honestly, like, I had that confidence, and then being around family and the people that they kept around, and just, you know, comments and, like, inappropriate, like, things, I really just kind of just started not wanting to have that attention. And so I just, like, you know, I started losing myself and losing my confidence, you know, like, I
did the same thing. I did, but I never, like, projected that onto myself. I don't know what inside of me makes me feel that way, because I literally don't talk to my family, like, and that's what, I still love them. Like, we were having this conversation. I was just talking about my cousin Chaz, like, he's, like, one of my favorite cousins, like, because, like, how I was raised, like, he, like, made, like, even, like, with that situation, like, they would pick on me, like, so much when I was a kid, but, like, I felt like, you know, I've never felt like that was ever my fault. I never blamed myself. Gotcha. And, like, a lot of people, like, I remember being called a narcissist before, and I would just be like, confidence
is not narcissism, though.
It's not even that. It's just, like, people are so quick to judge me that I don't care. Like, I really have no emotion towards what anyone has to say about me.
I've been around you long enough.
Like, because, I just
been
really...
around Naomi long enough to know, like, legit. Like, I've been in multiple situations.
We were in a deep situation at the...
We can't even talk about that.
We can't even talk about
that. To this day, we still can't talk about it. But
PTSD.
But there is literally, like, this innate light it's a spark, and I have seen her. She's like, I don't give a fuck. She's like, I don't care.
Because, like, I'm telling you, and it's just, like, because it's, like, what we're taught. And that's why I'm saying, like, it's really, like, the system is made for us to feel low, because, like, I've seen the other side of the situation because of how I was raised. And every single situation that I am in, even as an adult, I only am, attract a certain demographic of a man, because only men like that can handle me, because most men think I am aggressive or intimidating. Exactly. And it's like, no, I don't even have words to, like, explain to people that I just don't have the time to waste my energy on you. That's why I don't talk. That's why, like, I am such a bubbly, happy person, and people can't understand it, because I have been through so much. Like, I'm telling you, since I've known, because my grandmother was very beautiful. She's a very beautiful woman. Like, I looked up to her as an example, because, like, she was my source of, like, empowerment as a woman. Like, I knew my life wasn't ever going to be bad, because I feel like I have her on my side. She's rooting for me 100%. She's pushing my goals quicker and wanting me to win farther, harder than everybody who wants me to lose. Yeah. Because even if there are 1,000 haters, I'm still going to do whatever I want to do.
Exactly.
I don't care what you say. I'm glad that I have a life, that I'm not following a system that's telling me how I should live my life. Absolutely. I also was raised in a really strict religion that I really do a lot of research on history and stuff, because, like, that's just, like, really what I'm interested in. And I also do a lot of research on religion, because that's just what I'm interested in. And, like, okay, I could say I have a little bit of a God complex, only because I relate to, I view myself not as Jesus, for example, but, like, I view myself on that level, because even equally as him in his example on this earth, if you believe in a Jesus, John Smith, Buddha, whatever you believe in, Ali, like, in every single one of those situations, they 100% believed in themselves and knew the way that they wanted to live their life. It's crazy that people want to tell other people how to live their lives, when the whole reason on why we are here as humans is to have free will, to do whatever we want to do. Obviously, you know, like, dictators and, like, you know, that like, there's good and bad there's balance. There's good and bad, and, like, you know, there's always going to be that way. But choose to highlight and look at the joy and happiness in your life, and, like, what you can bring to the world. Because, like, I'm not going to add more negativity in the world. Correct. Because you think I'm ugly because I'm dark skinned, or, like, you think that I'm arrogant because I love myself, or I have too much confidence, or I'm dramatic. I'm glad I'm dramatic, because the world has taught every single person, especially women, to be bland, to not express themselves. And it's exhausting to just, like, walk around this earth on eggshells and be I never will forget. I was in CVS one time, and this lady, like, came up to me and was like, "Oh, where'd you get your lips done?" And I was like, there's people literally, my mentor literally told me, there's people walking around here that are literally devils, like demons, because they have no personality. They have nothing to look forward to in their own sense of self. So they have to project it to other people, or ask or imitate you, and, like, want to be, like, it's really weird how many people get surgery to look like somebody. Like
Right.
I don't know. Like that's just like I never wanted to change myself
Yeah.
ever, especially my looks, because I think I am the most beautiful person to grace this planet. Like, what do you mean I want to change the way I look? Are we okay? Like, we are here to look different because that's who we are meant to be. I didn't fight my way to being a black person at that. To be an oppressed person, to hate myself.
Right.
I didn't fight myself. That's one thing I will never be, is my own enemy.
Yeah.
I will never be my own enemy because there's so many enemies that are already like pointing their guns at me and wanting to shoot me down. Like, no, don't listen to those negative comments. Like, it's so annoying. Like, that's why I get passionate.
Like exactly. And that's
no, I mean, so, because it makes me mad. Because, like, and people be like, why are you so, because I only have 2 letters for people, and it's F and U.
Yeah.
Like, please, get out of my face.
That's really why I, like, really got into modeling, is because I was really working on loving myself as I was. Like, looking in the mirror and saying, I love you the way you are. I will say that I would like to enhance myself because I did the work and I lost the weight, and so I'm gonna, get back some of that weight that I lost.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with surgery.
No.
Just
there's never anything
completely
wrong.
changing yourself
But
is
completely
weird.
So, like, just loving yourself, like, why would the size of my lips ever mean that I went out to get that on purpose? How come I couldn't just be born with lips like this?
And
like,
also, what's wrong with having small lips, big lips, middle lips?
That's exactly.
No lips.
And so, like, the work to get to the point where not caring about what other people think is that you probably wouldn't even be able to do the work that I did to get to this point for myself. Definitely. And so I agree with you. Like, I really learned how to set boundaries for myself to not allow people to cross boundaries with me. And I will let you show up how you are. If I don't vibe with it, if you show up as not a person that I can consider as authentic, I'm going to take that as face value, and then I won't hear from you.
Eliminate
you won't hear
as
from me.
many people in your life as well, because even like you do say, is blood is only physical. Mm-hmm. Your spirit could be bad for me, and that's okay. Yeah. But just know, I don't want your spirit to be around me.
Period.
So please remove. Like, I don't.
I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna remove myself.
Yeah, literally.
And it took me a while to get to that point, to know that I can't take up real estate in my mind figuring out why somebody reacted to me the way that they reacted. It doesn't matter.
Especially
still showed up
unprovoked.
I still showed up as myself. I never did anything to ever hurt or harm you. I was being my authentic self, and I will continue to be my authentic self. And if that's not good for you, that's fine. But your toxicity and whatever you need to work out for yourself is for you to deal with. I can't deal with that because I'm already working out stuff for myself. I don't have any more room for anybody else. Period. And the more you start learning that, and the more you start creating those boundaries, those healthy boundaries for yourself and sticking to them, that's when that confidence and that everything comes in back to you, because you're learning your worth. You are priceless.
And always remembering, it's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
Dealing with something that was us, like, I'm telling you, it's not us as Black people. It's never us. I knew that from the beginning. That's why I walk around here like a regular fucking human being.
Exactly.
Because I'm no different than anyone else. And if you want to treat me differently, that's your problem.
Don't look at me weird if I'm looking at
that's their problem.
Like, that is your problem.
So, like, it literally just has to boil down to that. Like, really, like, tapping into yourself, and, like, it maybe was my mentor or going to therapy that maybe has helped me and, like, did, like, actually make me, because I did grow up a little bit angry because I knew that's how the system was from a young age, that I didn't want to be in that system. So I always was, like, fighting against it and being like, why?
I harbored
a lot of anger. But then it's like, at the end of the day, life isn't really fair at all. Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, now I'm just going to change the approach to the situation. And now I'm the king of the castle. I'm the king of the chessboard. Because I'm the most important piece of my life. And that is my happiness, that is my goals, that is how I inspire and affect people, and that's how I want to be projected. That's how I want my legacy to live on forever, because if I have kids, I don't think I will. I don't think I want to have kids. But if I do,
and that's definitely
I want that to be in their bloodline, in their ancestry line.
Already instilled. Yes.
I want when I go away, this is like, I literally feel like this is how you do preserve your life to live on forever.
Absolutely.
Is that you have that impact on someone's life in such a positive way that you do live on through them forever. Like, we were literally just talking about James Brown last night, and like I didn't really realize how like great, like I'm now starting to tap into like especially like older artists and stuff, and bringing that creative side of me out.
Yeah.
I love James Brown. I don't love him as a person because like I guess he did some domestic violence stuff, but like it don't matter. I'm looking at him as an artist, and him as an artist is exactly who I want to be. I relate to James Brown's. I relate to Rihanna's.
Yep.
I don't relate to everybody people.
Correct.
Because they're just like everybody wants to be like everybody. I want to be Naomi, Juanita, Jadzia Turner. Like, you're gonna know who I am.
I just want to be myself.
I just want to be myself, and if you don't rock with it, that's fine. Rock your boat that way.
Yeah.
Actually, we need to gatekeep more. I'm telling you, it's very crucial. It's very important. We have to have our own fundamental systems that allow us to have our own handout, our own leg up, without anyone else knowing. Because even with the whole nepotism baby situation, we now know that that's mainly where people, especially in Hollywood, get their jobs. We need to start incorporating that into our own lives. So, yeah, I think it's very important that you do bring out that it's time for us to change, because it's never going to get better until we are aware that it needs to get better.
Correct.
And stop. Actually, I think how to solve the whole reparations thing is like, don't tax us. I think that's is a better approach. Just don't tax native black people. Right. Because like, really, why am I paying taxes for a country that I built? That my ancestors built? I'm confused.
Just reading about the whole like 40 acres and a mule and where it really came from, and like why it never passed. Like it like literally was like voted against.
We should be free agents.
That's how
the immigrants don't pay taxes here. That's why they hate them coming here. Why do you think they don't want these immigrants to come here? They don't be paying taxes.
They got the right outlook.
They don't pay They just don't pay taxes though.
Right.
Like that's why they don't want it. That's why they don't want them. They're not documented.
Right.
That's why they don't want it. So just don't let us, like, if you don't want to give us reparations, that's fine. If you don't want to give us money, that's fine. Maybe you don't have it. I guess we $1 trillion in debt, which that doesn't make any sense to me either.
That makes no sense.
Because how you in debt with invisible money? Just say you ain't got it. It's okay. The whole world is in debt. How is the whole, like, we were just watching the whole movie on BlackBerry, and like they find this guy, the guy that was, he literally made the most lucrative business, right, with promised money. He did literally the same thing that the United States government does, yet they decided to take all his money away. It's crazy how they want to.
Yeah. Say, like, we can do it, but you can't.
We can do it, but you can't do it.
You can't do it. You can't use our own.
You can't use our own
system.
You can't oppress us
by
oppressing us.
Hold on. We didn't expect you to be this smart. Hold on. Let's make some more laws.
We didn't expect you to crack the code.
Convolute this, right?
But like, it's crazy because it's like, maybe he did figure it out, but y'all so big mad.
Don't be mad about it. Like, how do you get mad about something that you're doing? Your own self?
It's crazy. That's what I'm saying. It's never our fault. It's never our fault. I think if we decided to have a little bit more compassion for each other as Black people and more grace, that is the beginning of the change. That is the beginning. Because like, how are you mad that I'm poor or that I was raised in a system to oppress me equally as you?
Right.
Like, you actually should understand me even better. Why are you fighting against me? Hate him. He's the one that decided to create this whole system. I was just born this way. I didn't ask for this. But yeah.
want to know when the next meeting is because both of y'all could teach me something.
Oh
no, you don't need to be here, Chastity.
Right.
Chastity, actually, she's another one who,
yeah.
especially with that night that we all went through, she's another one that like opened my mind up to just like, you know what, maybe I am not using my power where I need to use it for.
She is the one that really, really, really opened my eyes to really
and she's
start
so
paying
young.
attention.
Yeah.
Yes,
the young one teaching us.
She really did, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really do need to start really paying attention. Like, I really was in my own world for a long time. Yeah. And I was like, oh, shit, what happened?
Blinders.
Exactly.
We was in the sunken place.
That is true.
That's where we were.
Girl, that teacup. I was like.
It was screaming, get your ass up and get out.
Absolutely. Yes.
What were you going to say?
No, I was finished.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
Soon. It has to be soon.
It has to be
soon. It has to be soon.
Because, like, we've been talking about it, too, for a very long time. We just haven't really executed it. But since we answered the last question, which was, how do you envision the future of community building, and what steps can individuals take to actively contribute to building a stronger, inclusive community? I just really appreciate you guys being on here, like honestly, and being just so like open to have this conversation. So like that's what the whole point of this whole podcast is about. Is like I just hope that people see this and what we have within each other, and they're inspired as well to just like do that for themselves and know that there are people out there that like are, how do you say it, not like vulnerable, but are like there to understand you instead of just like making you feel like you're not understood, loved,
or alone. Yeah. Like I feel like what you're trying to say is there are people out there like us that have gone through experience for us to be able to form that compassion to what someone else could be going through in their life. And so hopefully you can use this platform as a means to reach out to
like
those
a beacon of light to even just
there's hope.
Just to raise awareness
to
becoming a better woman.
Absolutely.
Like even just the whole title of Diary of Happy Black Women I took from a spin-off of Tyler Perry's stuff, because like growing up I always hated like thinking like people were addressing me in a very angry and aggressive way, because that's not ever how I was, like ever. And I just want to change the narrative of who we are as Black women, because every single Black woman that I know is very loving, very great, very beautiful, very compassionate, very understanding, and it's just y'all that want to be combative and tell us who we are. Tell us what our experience should be, try to humble us, try to bring us down, because you don't understand. Like, we naturally are just so radiant with our energy, and the more and more we bring all of our energy together, the stronger it'll be. It's like we're literally the sun. We're made of the sun, so might as well share that out. So if you want to connect with us on socials, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube at Diary of Happy Black Women, or you can email us at diaryofhappyblackwomen@gmail.com. Is there anything else you guys like to say?
Honestly, if you're in a position where you are stuck and you don't know which way to go, I would honestly say, like, really just make yourself available, because I feel like having this meeting or, like, me being here with them, it taught me, like, it's actually way more than I haven't seen. Like, say, for instance, like, I'm the type of person, like, I thought, like, I meet so many females like me who struggle with their confidence just like I do. And so I now notice that to get to the next level, you have to be with people who are doing better than you, whether that's mentally, financially, emotionally, physically, everything. Like, really just put yourself in that position and really listen, like take notes, like be ready, like don't be close-minded, be open-minded. Like if you need help, reach out. Like if you see something that you need to be a part of, reach out. Like take that step to bettering yourself. You just have to do the work.
I would say just really work hard to staying true to yourself. If you have to take a moment where you need to just be with yourself, be with yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. There's only so much you can take on for yourself before you start going inward and having that negative self-talk. Trust in yourself and don't take no for an answer. If someone is not willing to help you, don't stop talking. Don't stop telling your story, because there's going to be someone out there that is right there with you. You know, you are not alone. You're not crazy. Listen to that voice of positivity that's in your head. Find something that's bigger than you, that takes your focus to a creative, productive way. I know that I started like downloading like the paint by numbers. You know, I downloaded this beautiful black coloring book. It was like, you know, to highlight someone that looks like you, to pull that inspiration, pull that love, or pull that courage or that confidence that you don't have for yourself, so you can see it visually and you can integrate it in yourself. That's my advice, is just, you know, make sure you check in with yourself. It is okay to have bad days. Just know that you just make sure you get it out and don't get stuck in that space, and talk to someone that you know that won't judge you. And if you need help finding that person, look, there are resources out there for mental health. Therapy is a lot more readily available now. On my platforms, I push, you know, self-love and empowerment. You can find me, I'm mostly on IG, but you can find me at tiffany.aumann. That's tiffany.aumann on IG. It's the same for Facebook. And for TikTok is just_Tiffany82. I really am striving to push out more inspirational messages by showing what I do in my life to create happiness. And I would love to share it with you. So I'm just grateful, Naomi, for you having me here. Thank you so much. This was much needed.
No, thank you guys so much. Like, honestly, like I said, I did not want to do this episode without you guys. Like, you guys were the piece to the puzzle. It's not me. Like, you guys brought out this episode, and I appreciate you guys so much for being on here.
We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Yay.
Ah.